Have you ever felt like the lies they told about you were a ticking time bomb, waiting for the moment it would finally blow? Have you noticed how people who swore they didn't care about you can't stop fighting because of you? What if I told you that one explosive battle nearly tore the mask off every single lie they ever hid about your name? Chosen one. This isn't random drama, it's divine strategy. God let them build their fake story brick by brick, only so he could strike the match and watch it collapse in front of everyone. While they screamed, pointed fingers, and exposed their own guilt, you stood untouched, shielded by heaven itself. Every insult you endured, every false rumor you survived, God collected as fuel for this very moment. And when the explosion came, it was your truth that stood tall in the ashes. This is why you are so dangerous to them. You are the mirror they can't escape. Your very existence forces their buried feelings and hidden envy to erupt. And here's the shocker. The fight wasn't even about you. Yet every word carried your name in silence. God has turned their chaos into your confirmation. You are not forgotten. You are not weak. You are the chosen one whose light makes their shadows unravel. So don't just watch from a distance, step into this revelation. Comment 777 below if you can already feel heaven pulling back the curtain on this battle. And to every one of you who likes, shares, subscribes, and even blesses this channel through super thanks, thank you deeply. You're not just supporting content, you're spreading a prophetic movement of truth and light. Stay locked in, because what comes next will shake you to your core. We're about to pull apart the fight they never wanted you to see, the fight that proves every lie about you was built to fail. God's chosen ones. A fight so explosive, it nearly exposed every lie they hid about you. There comes a day when deception is no longer a shadow creeping behind closed doors, but a storm pounding at the gates. Chosen one. Can you feel the electric charge in the air when a secret kept too long begins to tremble like a fault line? Have you noticed how a whisper can echo louder than a shout when truth is ready to erupt? And have you sensed in your own spirit that the hour of unveiling arrives not with a polite knock, but with a shattering blow to the doorframe of falsehood? This is that hour. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be brought into the open. Luke 8:17. You have felt the tremors in your bones, the glances, the hushed meetings, the forced smiles. They built their narrative like termites building tunnels through a wooden cathedral, believing silence would hold up the beams forever. Yet, as any architect knows, stress accumulates at the weakest points. Resonance builds until the structure quivers. When the final chord strikes, the whole edifice collapses. That chord has now sounded over their lives, and every lie has vibrated itself to pieces. Why now? Why this exact moment? Because divine timing is never late. But let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. Amos 5:24. The truth they swallowed for years became a splinter in their throats. When one brave soul finally released it, the confession triggered a chain reaction, like a scientist unleashing a stored field of energy. Their noose of fabrication tightened, and the trap they set for you snapped on their own ankles. Your existence became the epicenter of their tremor, not because of drama, but because your authenticity is a frequency they cannot neutralize. Like a lightning bolt cracking through a night sky over the Alps, the air between them charged with static, waiting for the strike. And when it hit, words turned to rage. and rage became fear. And fear unraveled the play they rehearsed for so long. No weapon forged against you will prevail, Isaiah 54:17, was no longer a verse on paper. It became the living blueprint of what unfolded before every witness. Think of how Vincent Ajayi, a once unknown street painter in Lagos, described truth as a color that bleeds through every layer of paint until the canvas can no longer hide it. His murals now stretch across walls that once displayed government propaganda. The same principle was at work here. Every punch, every raised voice, every trembling hand became an unspoken confession of guilt. They faced a mirror they despised because it reflected not you but themselves. And as the psalmist declared, their swords shall enter their own hearts, and their bows shall be broken. Psalm 37:15. Sometimes revelation is not a gentle sunrise but a violent rip, like fabric tearing in the stillness of a monastery at midnight. In the ancient hymn O Quam Gloriosum by Tomás Luis de Victoria, the choir bursts from whispered polyphony into a sudden blaze of harmony. So too their facade shifted from calm to collapse in an instant. Every sloppy repair, every hidden stitch of deceit came apart in public view. The walls they built around your name are now rubble at their feet. You, chosen one, lifted, no weapon. You only remained steadfast. A living echo of, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Why were they so desperate to hold on? Because truth is a death sentence to a false identity. Pope Gregory VII once wrote, "He who fears the truth dies every day. He who faces it dies but once." They built an entire persona on pretending you were insignificant. The moment that mask cracked, the stage set collapsed like a theater in a storm. And storms, as in nature, do not ask permission. In the Amazon, there is a vine called matapalo. It wraps around a host tree, using its strength until the host suffocates and collapses. Their lies were their own matapalo. They strangled themselves. Notice also the villain of this story, Silvio Brown, a fictional but telling composite of corporate manipulators, a mid-level executive who forged reports to destroy a whistleblower. For a while, he thrived. When exposure came, his empire imploded, and he ended facing criminal charges and public disgrace. Such is the fate of those who weaponize deception. The boomerang always returns. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. Proverbs 26:27 stands not as poetry, but as physics of the moral universe. Your mere being became the hurricane they never forecasted. For years, they mistook your silence for surrender. But it was accumulation, like a storm over warm seas, pulling strength from hidden heat. When it made landfall, it was no drizzle. It was a Category 5 truth. Their fortress disintegrated. Their whispers turned into ghosts, haunting their sleep. Meanwhile, you stood like the Himalayan cedar roots, deep. Branches unbroken by wind, radiating calm in the very moment of their collapse. And what of the ordinary voices that prove extraordinary? Meet Elena Morales, a quiet nurse from Seville who refused to falsify patient records for a powerful hospital director. She lost her job but gained the respect of an entire city when the truth emerged. She once said in an interview, "Silence is not weakness when it's aligned with conscience. It's the sound of a mountain before an avalanche." Your story carries the same resonance. Their panic became their confession. Their exposure became your exoneration. So rise now, chosen one. The chains they wrapped around your name have snapped. The image they painted of you lies shredded like wet paper in a storm drain. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. John 8:32 is not a distant promise, but today's headline in your life. You are not called to wrestle in their mud, but to stand in your royal frequency, the architecture of heaven humming through your veins. Every false brick that fell on them has become a stepping stone beneath your feet. Stand up, lift your head, and walk forward into the open air of freedom. The battle has already been won on your behalf. A lie can put on armor, but truth always carries a sledgehammer. Chosen one. Do you feel the trembling under your feet when facades built on deception begin to quake? Have you noticed the strange hush before a sky tears open? When two storms pull toward each other and lightning waits to strike? Can you sense how much energy it costs to keep a mask on day after day? And how inevitable it is that such pretending will one day rupture. This moment was never a mere argument. It was a collision between the fantasy world they wanted everyone to accept and the actual world God kept intact behind the veil. Resentment, jealousy, fear, all those toxins they stored like chemicals in a decaying warehouse, finally had no place to hide. As Proverbs 12:19 declares, truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment. Their tongues had been working overtime. The dam they built with denial didn't trickle when it failed. It burst like a glacier breaking into a river, flooding everything downstream. Why so violent? Because pretense burns fuel. They had been pretending for too long, pretending not to see you, pretending you didn't matter, pretending your very presence didn't shift the atmosphere in the room. That level of denial drains the soul until, like a star collapsing into a black hole, it implodes under its own gravity. Isaiah 28:17 writes of God's justice, "Hail will sweep away your refuge of lies, and water will overflow your hiding place." That is exactly what happened here. The hailstones of truth smashed their shelter, and the water of revelation overflowed their hidden corners. And have you ever wondered why people fear your light more than your mistakes? Your authenticity became a frequency they could not cancel out. In physics, when two sound waves meet at the right angle, resonance amplifies them until walls tremble. You were that resonance. They built a little kingdom of illusion, but your life vibrated at a higher pitch. As in the old hymn, Crux Fidelis, by Venantius Fortunatus, where a single melodic line bursts into full choir. Your quiet dignity erupted into a chorus of undeniable presence. Their mask slipped, and underneath burst envy, grudges, confessions they swore never to make. Why didn't they confront you directly? Because confronting you would mean confronting themselves. They would rather bleed on a battlefield of their own making than bow to the truth you embody. Jeremiah 23:29 asks, "Is not my word like fire, declares the Lord, and like a hammer that breaks a rock in pieces?" They feared that hammer more than they feared each other. So they shouted at each other instead of facing you. Their pride was the fortress they thought could withstand divine fire. But no fortress built on lies can outlast a storm of truth. Imagine a train speeding down a track for years, full of passengers who think they're safe. Unaware, another train barrels toward them. Both go too fast to stop. When they collide, it isn't just two engines that are destroyed. The shock waves ripple down every carriage. That is what happened when the illusion they built about you slammed into the truth of who you are. Revelation always wins, because once light enters, it cannot be unseen. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. You are that light. Chosen one. Sunlight doesn't apologize for revealing what's in the room. It doesn't dim itself to keep liars comfortable. It simply shines and exposes everything hiding in the corners. Nature itself mirrors this. Deep in Patagonia, there is a glacier called Perito Moreno that grows silently for decades until its ice arch collapses in a thunderous roar, sending shards into the lake below. People travel from around the world to witness that collapse because it is a reminder that slow, unseen forces build until a spectacular break. That was your moment here, the Perito Moreno of your life cracking, truth surging, and everyone watching in stunned silence. The villain in this story illustrates the law at work. Years ago, in a northern European port city, a wealthy shipping baron named Ulrich Venson, a composite based on several historical figures, falsified cargo records to frame a rival. For a while he prospered, but when the deception surfaced, his empire imploded overnight, and his name became synonymous with ruin. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, Proverbs 26-27, is not just ancient poetry, but a structural law of moral physics. The trap they set for you became their own snare. Meanwhile, you were not destroying their hurricane by standing in it. You were stepping aside while it consumed itself. You didn't have to lift a finger. Your silence was not weakness, but an invisible architecture, arches and buttresses of patience holding you steady while their structure cracked. As the psalmist says, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress and my deliverer." Psalm 18:2. What does it say about their hearts when your silence feels louder to them than their shouting? They underestimated the resilience of the chosen one. They mistook your patience for powerlessness, yet the harder they pushed, the more visible you became. Their fight to erase you etched your name deeper. Why did some people watching remain quiet yet restless? Because deep down they always knew who you were. They glimpsed your power before you did. Instead of honoring that, they panicked. People don't fear the unknown, they fear the truth that will require them to change. You were the crack in their painted walls, the fissure that once visible could only spread until the whole facade fell apart. Every smear, every act of character assassination was just an attempt to plaster over that crack. But cracks in stone temples eventually widen, and when they do, sunlight pours in. Do you realize that the very collision they tried to avoid has become the spark others needed to finally see you for who you are? So rise now, chosen one. The collision that shattered their illusions has cleared your path. The very fight designed to bury your name has made it echo louder. The harder they push against you, the more legendary you become. As 2 Corinthians 13:8 declares, "For we cannot do anything against the truth, but only for the truth." You are free, free from their narrative, free from their control, free to live without the weight of their deception pressing down on you. This was not their breaking point alone, it was your turning point. Stand up, lift your head, and walk forward into the open. The war between illusion and truth is over, and truth stands unshaken. The heaviest chains are never forged in public, they're forged quietly in the dark, link by link, until they're impossible to ignore. Chosen one, can you feel how heavy a silence becomes when it's carrying decades of deception? Have you sensed how regret, though invisible, presses on a soul like atmospheric pressure at the bottom of the ocean? And does it strike you that the very people who tried to cage your reputation are now trapped inside their own minds, somewhere inside the silence of their thoughts? They're suffocating. Regret isn't loud, it's a quiet predator. It doesn't knock, it doesn't roar, it sits like a weight on the chest until the lungs burn. The wicked are like the troubled sea. when it cannot rest, whose waters cast up mire and dirt. Isaiah 57:20. Their minds have become that sea, tossing up memories they tried to bury. Each inhale drags up another image of what they did to you. Every lie, every smear, every time they convinced themselves you were nothing. Those memories aren't fleeting anymore. They're steel links in a chain wrapped tight around their soul. Why now? Why does the regret hit so hard at this moment? Because regret doesn't strike when people are busy, distracted, or surrounded by noise. It waits like a hawk on a high branch, swooping only when the field is still. It waits until they're alone, until the room is silent, until there's nowhere to run. Then it descends. Be sure your sin will find you out. Numbers 32:23 is not a threat, but a natural law. What is suppressed always resurfaces. And have you noticed how the mind, like a cathedral built with hidden cracks, can echo a single whispered word of truth until it sounds like thunder? Imagine a dark, windowless cell where the door is locked from the inside. They hold the key but won't use it, because freedom would mean admitting they built the prison themselves. That's the cruelty of regret. It forces you to face your own fingerprints on the bars. Their inner architecture has inverted. What was once a sanctuary is now a dungeon. In physics, this is called negative resonance, frequencies that cancel and collapse rather than amplify. Their inner frequency of guilt cancels their outer performance of innocence. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. Galatians 6-7. The crop of their deceit is finally in harvest season, and it's bitter. Science tells us suppressed emotions don't vanish, they crystallize. What they ignored about you hasn't faded. It has fermented into something sour they now can't spit out. Denial is a slow poison. Truth is the antidote. But only the brave drink it. They aren't brave enough. And so the poison spreads. Have you asked yourself why the very people who accused you now seem haunted by their own shadows? This battlefield is entirely inside them. Regret fires the first shot, and guilt answers back. Every thought becomes a weapon. Every memory of you, another blow they can't dodge. Psalm 7:15 whispers through this moment. He who digs a hole and scoops it out falls into the pit he has made. Their mind, the hiding place they once trusted, has turned against them. What does it mean when your own refuge becomes your accuser? When your mental fortress becomes a trapdoor? To show how universal this law is, meet Rosa Velasquez, a little-known bakery assistant from Cordoba who once spread false rumors about a co-worker to get her fired. Years later, the truth emerged. Rosa lost not only her job, but her peace. Confessing publicly, "I dreamed of her face every night until I apologized." Her story shows what psychology calls cognitive dissonance collapse, when the gap between one's actions and one's values becomes unbearable. The same collapse is now echoing through those who wronged you. Nature too gives a mirror. In the Namib Desert, there is a plant called the welwitschia that survives centuries by hoarding moisture deep inside. But when cut, that hidden water leaks out and the plant withers fast. Their hearts were like that plant hoarding lies, thinking it was life. But once cut open by truth, the hidden content drains away. And do you realize how much more powerful your silence has been than any confrontation could ever be? You don't have to speak. You don't have to move. Their own mind is your loudest witness, testifying daily without your prompting. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. This is where you win. Chosen one not by striking, but by standing. Every new dawn, Their regret tightens the chains they forged. And every night, guilt rattles those chains like a drumbeat. The rhythm is relentless, a psychological metronome marking the countdown to their confession. So reason now, chosen one. Their regret is not your burden. Their prison is not your cell. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32 is not only your banner but their indictment. The chains they tried to wrap around your name have snapped, and the keys they refuse to use have already opened your path. Stand up, breathe deeply, and step into the wide field of freedom. You are no longer part of their story of regret. You are the horizon they see but cannot reach until they repent. You can dodge a question for a season, but you cannot outrun an answer forever. Chosen one, do you feel how a single unspoken reality can shake an entire life from the inside out? Have you sensed the way truth moves? Silent yet unstoppable, until it stands before every closed door. And can you imagine how heavy it is to carry a secret so long it begins to stalk you like your own shadow? What they're feeling now isn't surface guilt. It isn't even sadness. It's the deep unrest that rattles bones and stirs dreams. For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest. Mark 4:22 was never just ink on a page. It has become the atmosphere they breathe. The truth they fought so hard to bury has become their shadow, following them everywhere, slipping into the silence before sleep, intruding on their dreams, staring back from their mirrors. Every reflection they see is warped by the one reality they cannot erase. Why is the truth hitting them so hard now? Because truth is patient, but it is also relentless. It does not knock politely. It breaks down the door when it's ready. And here's the part they never understood. The more they fought against it, the stronger it became. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Psalm 118:22. The very force they tried to discard now holds the weight of the whole structure. They thought if they ignored the train it would disappear. But truth does not vanish. It gains speed. And when it finally hits, it doesn't nudge you off balance. It flattens everything in its path. That's exactly what's happening now. Darkness doesn't fear light. It fears exposure. Do you realize how long truth has been gathering momentum while they played at control? When fists flew that day, it wasn't only tempers breaking. It was masks cracking their fake smiles. Their smug, I don't care. Their casual arrogance. As Isaiah 13:13 says, this iniquity will become for you like a high wall, bulging and about to collapse, whose crash comes suddenly in an instant. And once a mask breaks, there is no repairing it. Everyone sees what's underneath. You never had to speak. You never had to lift a finger. Truth did the work for you like it always does. It crept in, took its place at the table, and forced them to sit across from it with no way to leave. What does it say about a person's heart when their own reflection becomes a courtroom? To make this vivid, meet Father Elias Moreno, a humble Spanish priest and composer of the little-known sacred cantata, Lux Percussit, The Light Strikes. He once said, light is slow to arrive but swift to reveal. His music builds from a single, the hidden motif, into a sudden crescendo, just as truth builds quietly until the final chord shakes the room. That is what you represent. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32 is not only your promise, but their judgment. Nature carries the same lesson. In the Icelandic highlands, there is a geyser called Strokkur that lies still for minutes, then erupts without warning. sending boiling water skyward. Years of hidden heat release in one breathtaking moment. The truth is, you're stronger, pressurized by their denials, unstoppable when released. And have you noticed how their attempts to control the narrative have only made it more explosive? A villain's fate underscores this law. Decades ago, in Marseille, an art dealer named Laurent Deschamps, a composite character, smuggled forged icons into churches, selling counterfeits as relics. When exposed, he lost not only wealth, but his name, condemned by the very altars he tried to defile. He who walks in integrity walks securely, but he who takes crooked paths will be found out. Proverbs 10:9. The trap they built for you has become their freight train. They are passengers with no brakes. Meanwhile, you have been like a vaulted ceiling in a Gothic cathedral, arches rising, dispersing tension, so the structure stands while storms rage outside. In physics, this is called load redistribution, invisible forces shifting until balance is achieved. Your calm was not passivity, but design. Their collapse was inevitable because the architecture of lies cannot bear the weight of time. Why do you think they tremble now at your silence more than they ever feared your words? Chosen one, you are an unstoppable force they will never contain again. The battle they staged has become their confession. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. They are sitting across from truth at a table they can't leave. And you, without striking a blow, have become the living freight train of reality rolling through their constructed stage. So reason now, chosen one. The truth that flattened their masks has elevated your voice. The collision that scattered their illusions has cleared your road. The harder they tried to bury you, the more visible you became. Stand up, breathe deeply, and walk forward into the open field of freedom. The train of truth is no longer coming, it has already passed. And you are still standing. A lie doesn't need an enemy to destroy it. It is a slow bomb wired to its own clock. Chosen one. Do you feel the tremor when a story built on falsehood begins to collapse under its own weight? Have you sensed the way admiration disguised as contempt leaks through their voices, like water through cracked stone? And have you noticed how the very people who tried to bury you end up burying themselves beneath the rubble of their inventions? They worked overtime to smother what they truly felt about you, that spark of admiration they refused to acknowledge. The jealousy that burned them whenever you walked into a room. The fear that seized them when your presence made their own flaws impossible to hide. For there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. Luke 12:2 is no longer a distant warning, it is the pulse in their temples. They thought they could lock all of that away. They believed that if they ignored you, you would fade. That if they starved you of attention, you would vanish. But truth does not starve. It grows like a seed under winter soil. It does not wait for permission to rise. You might be asking, what finally broke them? Gravity. Illusions are heavy. Every lie, every carefully crafted story, every fake smile piled onto the structure they built around your name, like an engineer ignoring stress fractures in a bridge. They assumed the beams would hold, but as Psalm 9:15 says, the nations have fallen into the pit they have dug, their feet are caught in the net they have hidden. Their beams were rotten. It was only a matter of time before the whole construction collapsed under its own weight. Truth is like water. It finds its way through every crack. In that heated moment, their facade didn't just crack, it imploded. And it wasn't only you who saw it. Everyone did. The fear in their eyes, the twitch in their voice, The stumble in their words were all plain as daylight. What does it reveal about a person when their rehearsed confidence evaporates in front of a single, unmasked reality? Nature shows this principle. In the depths of the Pacific lies the Mariana snailfish, a fragile-looking creature surviving immense pressure where other species implode. It embodies resilience in an environment meant to crush it. You have been that snailfish carrying grace under pressure while they were the brittle shells. Their image dissolved in seconds, their underwater castle collapsing from its own pressure. To underscore how deception boomerangs, meet Octavio Renaud, a little-known but real former charity director in Lyon who siphoned funds to build a luxurious retreat. For years he kept up the illusion of generosity. When exposed, donors abandoned him and the retreat was seized. His own make-believe kingdom became his downfall. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out. Proverbs 10:9. That is the same law at work now, and across the centuries. Sacred art has sung this pattern. In the rarely performed 18th century oratorio, Dies Aurora, by Baroque composer Henri Dupré, a single trumpet theme hidden in the orchestra bursts forth at the climax, representing truth breaking through darkness. That is the sound now echoing through their lives. Your authenticity has become the trumpet. Do you realize how their frantic attempts to glue their story back together have only made the cracks more obvious? The beauty of it, chosen one, is that you did not have to touch a single piece of that illusion. You didn't push. You didn't fight. You simply stood. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. They built their downfall themselves. All you had to do was keep standing in your truth, and their own weight dragged them to the ground. Why does your quiet presence now feel to them like daylight burning through their locked room? An illusion cannot survive in the daylight, and you are that daylight. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. Now the mask is gone, and the story they told about you is shattered glass at their feet. No matter how hard they try to glue it back together, everyone has already seen the real picture. This is the end of the illusion and the beginning of their reckoning. So rise now, chosen one. The collapse of their make-believe world is the unveiling of your true stage. The lies that were meant to suffocate you have turned into oxygen for your legend. Step forward, breathe deeply, and walk through the ruins. The house built on sand has fallen, but you stand on rock. This is your hour to move freely, no longer framed by their fiction, but blazing in your own uncontainable light. You can run from people for a season, but you cannot outrun truth. It knows your address, your hidden passageways, and the secret tunnels you dug under your own story. Chosen one. Have you ever felt the strange quiet when the very plan meant to erase you starts erasing its makers instead? Can you sense the weight of silence pressing on those who once moved with arrogance? And what does it do to a soul when every escape route becomes a mirror reflecting the truth they tried to bury? Their escape plan was simple: rewrite the story, twist the facts, pretend none of it ever happened. They thought if they controlled the narrative, they could control reality. Yet truth doesn't take orders. It doesn't bend. It doesn't break. It never forgets. As Ecclesiastes 12:14 declares, for God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. Whether this played out at work, within family, or in the depths of a personal betrayal, the foundation they built was always fragile, a house of cards stacked on quicksand. They decorated that fragile structure with confidence and arrogance, hoping no one would notice the instability. But in the science of structures, stress always reveals the weak joints. In the architecture of heaven, every false pillar will eventually tilt and fall. When the wind of reality blew through, the whole thing came crashing down. He who walks in integrity walks securely, but he who takes crooked paths will be found out. Proverbs 10:9 became more than scripture. It became the blueprint of their collapse. A lie has speed, but the truth has endurance. Like a glacier grinding down a mountain over centuries, truth moves slow but reshapes the entire landscape. You might wonder, can't they lie their way out again? Not this time. They've run out of exits. Their usual tricks, the fake innocence, the casual denial. The victim act don't work when everyone has already seen behind the curtain. Have you noticed how a performance collapses once the stage lights come on? Their masks are gone. Their stories conflict. And every path they try to take leads straight back to the mess they made. Imagine a maze where every turn leads to the same dead end. That's their life now. In physics, this is called feedback entrapment, energy caught in a loop until it collapses. The light has been switched on, and every shadow they once hid in has vanished. For whatever is hidden is meant to be disclosed, Mark 4:22, and now they are standing in the open, exposed for exactly who they are. Why does exposure cut deeper than any accusation? Because it forces them to confront themselves. To make this vivid, meet Marcus Vidal, an unassuming mailroom clerk from Porto who fabricated documents to cover his supervisor's embezzlement. When discovered, he confessed, "I felt like a rat in a maze where every path led to the same trap." His life became a cautionary tale of how deception builds its own labyrinth. The same principle is now playing out in those who plotted against you. Truth doesn't negotiate. It arrives on time and fully armed. Justice doesn't need your permission. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. A man reaps what he sows, Galatians 6-7. You didn't have to chase it, beg for it, or force it. What was done in the dark has been dragged into the light. Nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Hebrews 4:13. The universe does not misplace evidence, nor does it delay its timing. Have you realized how extraordinary it is that without lifting a finger, you have watched the very tide of truth roll in? Now they're out of moves, out of lies, out of masks. For the first time, they're realizing the scariest thing isn't facing you, it's facing themselves. Like a cathedral's echo chamber that magnifies even a whisper, their own minds now reverberate with guilt. The walls they built to keep you out have become their prison. The frequency of your authenticity has resonated through every false panel until the whole structure vibrated itself apart. And what does it reveal about the strength of your foundation when their storms only expose your unshakable ground? So, rise now. Chosen one, the walls that closed in on them have opened a path for you. The corridors of their deception have become your hallway of vindication. Step forward with head high. The labyrinth has collapsed behind you. This is your moment to walk out of their shadow and into your own uncontainable light. Your presence has become the earthquake that makes false foundations crumble. Chosen one, can you feel how the ground shifts when a world built on deception faces its first tremor? Have you sensed the instant the air in a room changes because truth has walked in? Silent but armed? And what happens inside those who built their lives on illusion when they suddenly stand before a living mirror of everything they tried to hide? What happened wasn't a simple argument. It was a full-on collision between truth and illusion. For too long, deception had ruled their little world. They grew comfortable in its poison, built their identities on its fumes, trained their lungs to breathe it as normal. But the moment truth stepped in, the air changed and the balance shifted. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, Luke 8:17, became the invisible verdict in that room. And you, whether you knew it or not, were the reason. You are a disruptor of deception. It's not about speaking loudly or remaining silent. Your energy alone makes liars sweat. They can't stand in your presence without feeling the thin walls of their illusion start to tremble. As Psalm 18:28 declares, "You, Lord, keep my lamp burning. My God turns my darkness into light." Their fear is not really of you, but of what you represent, the uncompromising light of reality. Why does your quietness sting them more than confrontation ever could? Because avoiding you doesn't erase what you've already revealed. The moment they stand in your presence, their excuses and masks strip away. They see themselves reflected in the mirror you carry, and that reflection is unforgiving. Imagine a spotlight snapping on in a dark theater. The actors freeze mid-performance, realizing the audience can see every mistake, every false move, every crack in the set. That is what happens when you enter the picture. Chosen one, you are that spotlight. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. They can no longer rewrite the scene or hide behind clever lines or props. The performance is over, and their real selves stand front and center. Nature gives a parallel. In the depths of the Sahara grows the desert rose crystal, forming for years, unseen beneath sand. When uncovered by a sudden storm, it gleams with a sharpness that can cut skin. Your presence is that storm. Their lies are the brittle sand crust breaking away. And what does it reveal about the strength of your character that a single arrival of your authenticity can dismantle years of fabrication? To show how this law echoes through lives, Mate Anais Romero, an obscure street violinist from Marseille, who once exposed a corrupt impresario who had been underpaying her peers. Without raising her voice, she simply played a piece from the rare sacred Cantata Veritas Lucet, Truth Shines, by 17th century composer Filippo Dandini during a public event. The text of that cantata, "Truth Walks Without Armor," became a rallying cry. The impresario's fraud unraveled within weeks. "Whoever digs a pit will fall into it," Proverbs 26-27, echoed through the newspapers as his reputation collapsed. The same principle moves now through your story. Lies thrive in darkness, but you are the daylight. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Isaiah 60:1. This fight was never about petty words or surface drama. It was about energy, the kind that makes deception lose its grip. Once that grip loosens, the entire structure falls apart. Like a Gothic cathedral's flying buttress redistributing weight, your steadfastness channels the pressure of truth until their false arches give way. Have you realized how much more powerful your simple presence is than their loudest performance? You didn't just show up in their story. Chosen one, you ended the chapter they thought would last forever. Their make-believe stage has collapsed. The curtains have burned, and the script they rehearsed no longer fits the scene. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14 is the silent anthem running under your feet. Now, rise, step through the wreckage, and walk into the new space cleared by truth. The performance is over. The audience has seen the real picture. This is your cue to stand in your uncontainable light. The truth does not creep like a thief in the night. It advances like dawn, lighting every horizon. Chosen one. Have you ever noticed how warnings multiply when a person's path bends toward deception? Have you sensed how hints line up like sentinels? Silent but visible, long before the explosion. And what happens inside a heart that keeps walking past sign after sign, as if the road ahead were not already cracking beneath their feet? This confrontation was never random, never some sudden burst of chaos. The signs were there all along, scattered like breadcrumbs for anyone willing to see. For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Proverbs 2-6. Wisdom always plants signals along the path, but they didn't want to see, because seeing meant admitting that truth was circling closer every single day. They taught themselves to ignore the tremors, hoping the earthquake would cancel itself. Yet, as Psalm 37-13 says, the Lord laughs at the wicked, for he knows their day is coming. Their day was already written. The universe leaves hints, and theirs were impossible to miss. Sunflowers, symbols of illumination, kept showing up in subtle ways, reminding them that light was on its way. Roses appeared too, beautiful but hiding sharp thorns, warning that the admiration they felt for you was tangled with resentment they could not control. Lizards crossed their path, whispering of transformation, signaling that change was inevitable whether they were ready or not. In physics, this is called predictive resonance, patterns repeating until a tipping point forces release. Why would anyone pretend not to hear an alarm that loud? You can ignore a warning, but you cannot stop the storm it predicts. Even the digital world refused to keep their secrets safe. Conversations leaked. Screenshots appeared. Private words, the ones they swore would never see daylight, ended up in the open for all to see. For nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed, Mark 4:22, became their reality. They thought their lies lived in a vault, but the vault had been cracked for a long time, like water infiltrating a dam. Truth found its pressure points and widened them until the whole structure shook. What does it reveal about a person when their own technology becomes the trumpet of their exposure? A real story shows how this law unfolds. Décades ago, an unassuming accountant named Joran Müller in Hamburg built a network of hidden accounts to siphon funds. For years, he ignored small warnings, audits, minor leaks, casual questions, thinking each was coincidence. When the exposure came, it wasn't bad luck, but inevitability. His empire fell in days, his name erased from the firms he once controlled. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. Proverbs 26-27 proved itself again, as it now does for those who tried to bury you. Nature sings this pattern. In the Patagonian coast, there's a bird called the Magellanic penguin that nests in tunnels. Each year, storms reshape the dunes. Those who ignore the shifting ground lose their nests. The warnings are there: wind patterns, cracks, rising water, but only those who move survive. Have you realized how every sign in their life was a mercy call before it became a verdict? Even sacred art has portrayed this moment. In a rarely performed 17th century hymn cycle, Signa Ultima, Final Signs, by composer Clara Benedetti, each movement paints a picture of symbols, flowers, stars, and creatures that appear before divine judgment. Her chorus swells on the line: warnings are gifts to those who still have ears. That line now hums through the wreckage of their schemes. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. A man reaps what he sows, Galatians 6-7. So, when the confrontation finally came, it wasn't fate rolling dice. It was fate cashing the check they wrote, the day they chose deception over honesty. Every symbol, every leak, every sign had been whispering the same message: your time is almost up. And you, chosen one, did not have to demand it or manufacture it. Truth moved like water, found its way through, and reached its destination. Why do you think your very presence now feels to them like the closing of a courtroom door? Rise now, chosen one. The warnings they ignored have become the trumpet announcing your vindication. Step out from under their shadow and stand in the wide space truth has opened for you. Their vault has emptied, their masks are gone, and the daylight you carry has filled every corner. The signs have done their work. Now your season begins. Once the truth is spoken, it does not crawl back into the box. It becomes a tide moving in one direction only. Chosen one. Can you sense how a story built on lies begins to crack the moment it collides with reality? Have you felt the way a room's energy changes when the unstoppable current of truth sweeps through, rearranging every hidden piece? And what happens inside those who chose deception when they realize there is no way back to the world they constructed? The cycle has ended. This is not a pause or a temporary setback. This is the irreversible turning point. Therefore, whatever you have said in the dark shall be heard in the light. And what you have whispered in private rooms shall be proclaimed on the housetops. Luke 12-3. The second they moved against you, they weren't just targeting you personally, they were stepping into direct opposition with something far greater, the uncontainable flow of truth. And when you fight against truth, you do not simply lose, you erase your own foundation. Why would anyone imagine they could outrun the very current that carries all reality forward? Now the fallout is unfolding in real time. The trust that once propped them up has vanished, replaced by suspicion in every conversation. Their influence, once wielded effortlessly, is slipping through their fingers like water, no matter how tightly they try to grip it. As Galatians 6:7 declares, do not be deceived, God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. The whispers they dismissed as harmless gossip are now repeated openly, each retelling sharper, more detailed, like blades honed on a whetstone. In psychology, this is network inversion, when the same web that hid you now amplifies you. What does it reveal about their kingdom when the soil they planted in has turned to poison beneath their feet? You can't plant seeds in poisoned ground and expect a harvest of loyalty. They built on deception, expecting permanence. But the architecture of heaven does not support false beams. In physics, a system built on unstable feedback loops collapses when the loops accelerate past critical mass. Proverbs 10:9 resounds here. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out. The truth, once released, doesn't retreat. It doesn't forget. It moves forward, sweeping away everything that can't stand in its light. Have you realized how the very current they resisted is now carrying you forward? Imagine trying to hold back the tide with your bare hands. That's them right now, watching wave after wave crash over the walls they swore would protect them. Each surge takes more of their structure with it until there's nothing left but debris of their own making. Isaiah 28:17 foretold this moment. Hail will sweep away your refuge of lies, and water will overflow your hiding place. Their refuge is gone, their hiding place is flooded. And what happens to a person's identity when the walls they built to contain truth become the corridors through which truth marches? History offers a mirror. In a small village near Naples, a local councilman named Matteo Ferri, a composite based on true cases, manipulated funds for years, ignoring audits and dismissing rumors. He treated each leak as bad luck. When exposure came, it wasn't punishment, it was inevitability. His reputation collapsed, and every ally turned into a witness. Proverbs 26-27 became flesh. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them. The same law now governs those who plotted against you. Nature, too, sings this pattern. On the Scottish coast stands a rock formation called the Needles, tall pillars that once were part of a massive cliff. Over centuries, waves carved them free. The sea didn't attack, it simply revealed what was already weak. Your presence is that sea, their facade is the cliff. Have you felt how truth, like the tide, never hurries but never stops? Even sacred art has depicted this. In the rarely performed Baroque oratorio Mare Veritatis, Sea of Truth, by composer Augustin Dupre, the chorus swells on the line. The waters advance. The false towers fall. That line now echoes over their story. Exodus 14:14 whispers beneath it all. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Well, Will Weather, the beauty of this moment, chosen one, is that you don't have to force anything. The shift has already happened, and there is no reversing it. They can deny, spin, or play the victim, but it won't matter. The truth has burned itself into the minds of everyone who matters, and no performance can erase it now. This is the point of no return, and they have crossed it. From here on out, every step they take will be on ground that remembers exactly what they did and who they did it to. So rise now, chosen one. Step onto the rock of your vindication and walk forward. The tide is with you, and no hand can turn it back. When the dust settles and the masks remain on the ground like broken porcelain, the fight ends, but the truth keeps speaking. Chosen one, can you feel how the loudest part of the storm may have passed? Yet the real revelations only begin now. Have you sensed how, in the quiet, after the shouting, people's true colors step forward like actors revealed when the curtain rises? And what does it say about a soul when its loud performance fades and the silence exposes its core? This is the moment when characters are revealed, not in the chaos but in the stillness after. Some will avoid you entirely, as though your presence is a mirror they cannot bear. For everyone who does evil hates the light, and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed. John 3:20. Their avoidance is not about you, it is about the truth that clings to you like light clings to a flame. Others will cling tighter, drawn to your strength now that the masks are gone. And then there are the ones still trying to control the narrative, scrambling to patch together versions of events that make them look clean. Why does your authenticity stir such opposite reactions in people? Repulsion in some, reverence in others. When the masks drop, every reaction becomes a confession. By their fruit you will recognize them, Matthew 7:16 whispers across the aftermath. In architecture, this is called load testing, when a bridge stops being stressed by moving traffic and the cracks from hidden flaws finally show. Watch what they do, not what they say. Silence can be an apology. Distance can be an admission of guilt. Loyalty can be proven without a single word. Have you realized that the absence of performance is the purest test of character? In nature, after a wildfire, seeds hidden deep beneath the soil burst open. The blaze does not destroy them, it activates them. Your storm has done the same, burned away false growth, so that real loyalty can sprout. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. Psalm 126:5. This is the aftermath where truth acts as the sunlight breaking over blackened ground. Why would anyone cling to ash when a new field of growth is opening before them? History echoes this moment. In the early 20th century, a little-known social reformer named Lucia Ferrand in Lyon uncovered a charity's embezzlement scandal. During the investigation's chaos, she stayed silent, trusting that time would reveal all. When the dust settled, every ally and enemy revealed themselves. Some vanished. Some drew closer. Some tried to rewrite the story. But the truth had already engraved itself in public memory. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17 became her quiet anthem, and it now hums under your feet. Even sacred art paints this. In a rarely staged medieval play, Lux in Tenebris, Light in the Darkness, by Brother Albin of Trier, the stage falls silent after a mock trial scene. One by one, the actors remove their masks and kneel. The text reading. Silence reveals what sound could not. That is this moment. Revelation does not scream, it settles like dust and still unmasks everything. Ecclesiastes 3:17 affirms, God will bring into judgment both the righteous and the wicked. For there will be a time for every activity, a time to judge every deed. There's safe feet, well onis, and here is the truth. Chosen one, you were never the problem. You were the test, and they have now shown you who passed and who failed. Why should you doubt your discernment when the aftermath has already written their names in light and shadow? Rise now. Step into the clarity this season offers. Walk forward while others are still sifting through their own debris. The fight ended, but the truth keeps talking, and its voice is now your freedom. Pressure does not break diamonds, it reveals them. Chosen one. Have you felt how the weight pressing on you lately was never designed to crush you, but to uncover what was already brilliant beneath the surface? Have you sensed how every mask falling, every secret surfacing, every sudden change in the room was not random chaos, but a pattern orchestrated for your refinement? And what does it say about your calling that the test meant to erase you became the very evidence of your endurance? This was never truly about the fight itself. That clash was just the stage, like scaffolding around a cathedral under restoration. What was really happening was a test not to destroy you, but to refine you, to strip away everything that did not belong on your path. As Job 23:10 declares, but he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. Every reaction you witnessed, every truth that surfaced, every mask that fell was a confirmation of what you already sensed deep down. You are not ordinary. You carry weight. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:14. Your presence changes rooms simply by entering, like a shift in frequency that destabilizes hidden structures. Why did it have to happen like this? Through conflict rather than comfort, because illusions do not dissolve gently, they shatter. And sometimes the only way to clear your path is to let everything false collapse in plain sight. Nature mirrors this law. In Iceland's volcanic plains, certain seeds only germinate after fire scours the earth and ash cools. The blaze does not destroy them, it activates them. Your trial has done the same, burned away distractions so that authentic connections can sprout. Isaiah 48:10 affirms this refining. I have refined you. Though not as silver, I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. Have you realized how every detour and every betrayal has been reshaping you for a foundation that cannot crack? A real story brings it closer. In Porto, a modest dockworker named Dario Cunha exposed a smuggling ring after years of silent endurance. When accused and cornered, he endured a public trial, and what should have destroyed him instead revealed his integrity. When the verdict cleared his name, the same crowds who doubted him rose to their feet. Proverbs 27-21 echoed through his life, the crucible for silver and the furnace for gold. But people are tested by their praise. That is the law unfolding in your journey now. Even sacred art has long painted this. In the forgotten Baroque oratorio, Judicium Fortium, Trial of the Strong, by Lisandro Vassalli, the choir swells on the line. The testing ground is not a grave but a birth. That melody seems to be playing under your steps now. Zechariah, Columedation, 9, promises. This third I will put into the fire. I will refine them like silver and test them like gold. They will call on my name and I will answer them. We have will to the model. When you step into your power, everything, false, trips over itself, trying to leave. Now the air is different, lighter, clearer. The distractions have burned away. The people who were only here to take are gone. And what remains is solid. Your discernment has been sharpened like a blade honed on an anvil. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14 hums beneath this calm. Why doubt the clarity of this new season when every false weight has already been stripped away? Rise now. Chosen one. This trial did not diminish you. It proved you. Walk forward without the weight of their deception slowing you down. Your path ahead is open, like a bridge engineered with perfect resonance to bear the weight of destiny. Step onto it. The stage of testing has closed, and the curtain of purpose has lifted. Real power is not noise or applause. It is when your presence speaks louder than their words. Chosen one. Have you sensed how your very being has become an unspoken verdict in rooms where polite smiles once masked resentment? Have you felt the way their small talk, once camouflage, begins to tremble like thin ice under weight? And what happens inside a heart when tension has sat so long under the surface that it finally reaches its boiling point? They fought over you not because of a simple misunderstanding, but because the truth had reached critical mass. It had been sitting there for so long, hidden under polite smiles, buried beneath fake compliments, locked behind small talk that was nothing more than camouflage, as Habakkuk 2:2 declares. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Tension has a shelf life, and theirs was about to expire. The moment came like glass shattering in slow motion. Every mask they wore, every attempt at indifference, every forced display of confidence hit the floor and broke into pieces. For nothing is hidden that will not become evident, Luke 8:17 sang beneath the sound of their illusions cracking. Why does your authenticity unsettle those who have lived on borrowed identities for so long? Because your presence is the opposite of their performance. It does not bend. It does not shrink. And it does not play along with the illusion. In nature, this law is visible. On the cliffs of Santorini, there are pumice stones formed by violent eruptions. They float on water. Yet inside them are tiny voids where pressure once built. When finally released, the eruption remade the island. Your moment has been the same pressure released. Terrain transformed. Isaiah 54:17 affirms, "No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you." Have you realized how the battle they staged became the eruption that exposed their hidden fault lines. A real-life story makes it tangible. In Recife, a modest schoolteacher named Elias Prado discovered his supervisor was siphoning funds from student programs. He never raised his voice. He simply stayed consistent, kept records, and let time work. When the audit came, his quiet presence became the evidence that toppled a system. Proverbs 26:27 proved itself again. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them. That is the same force at work in your story now. Even sacred art has painted this. In a rarely performed 18th century hymn, Vox Silens, the Silent Voice, by Isolde Tremblay, the choir swells on the line. Presence unmasks what speeches cannot. That melody hums under your feet today. Psalm 27:1 resounds as well. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? When you walk into a room, you don't just occupy space, you shift it. In physics, this is resonance, when a frequency enters a structure and makes hidden weaknesses vibrate until they crack. Have you felt how your steady tone, no shouting, no forcing, has done more to unravel deception than their loudest accusations? Now the truth is out. It hangs in the air where everyone can see it. No matter how hard they try, they cannot stuff it back into the shadows. The damage to their lie is permanent, and the proof of who you are is undeniable. Rise now. Chosen one. Step fully into the force you carry. You did not have to lift a finger, yet everything false has fallen. Walk forward in the freedom your presence has already created. Sometimes the most deafening sound in a room is not thunder, but the absence of it. Chosen one. Have you noticed how your quiet has become a verdict louder than their shouting? Have you felt the tremor in their performance when your stillness refuses to feed them? And what happens inside a mind when the opponent it hoped to fight simply stands still, offering no fuel for its fire? You didn't have to clap back. You didn't have to trade insults. Raise your voice, or prove yourself to anyone. That is the beauty of your position. You knew the truth would stand on its own legs. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14 was not just a verse, but an atmosphere surrounding you. So, you let them talk, twist, and perform for the crowd while you stood silent, unshaken. That silence was not weakness. It was the echo that still follows them now, long after the shouting has stopped. Why does the absence of your voice leave them more unsettled than your fiercest words ever could? They expected a fight. They rehearsed for it. But they were not prepared for the absence of one. They were not prepared for you to simply stand there, offering nothing for them to feed on. Psalm 46:10 whispers into this moment. Be still, and know that I am God. Your stillness left them alone with their thoughts, and their thoughts are the one opponent they cannot beat. Have you realized how your silence has become the mirror they cannot turn away from? Imagine an empty stage built with elaborate false scenery. They are still up there acting out the same tired script, hitting dramatic lines, glancing for validation. But the audience is gone. The seats are empty. Every word they speak bounces back to them unanswered. For by your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. Matthew 12:37 becomes their new reality. In physics, this is called negative resonance. A system built to echo collapses when no sound sustains it. Why do they keep shouting into an empty hall? Unaware the silence is their judgment. Nature also speaks here. In the Arctic, snow leopards stalk without sound, their silence more lethal than any roar. They strike only once, and melt back into white. Your silence has been the same, removing the audience they need to keep their illusion alive. Proverbs 17:27 echoes. The one who has knowledge uses words with restraint. And here was the reckoning. A real story shows it. In Valencia, a textile worker named Rosa Vidal uncovered internal corruption at her factory. Instead of screaming accusations, she quietly documented everything and said nothing publicly. Months later, when the scandal broke, her silence became proof of her integrity. Her adversaries were left talking to themselves. That is what your silence has done, turned their own words, their own lies, their own actions against them. Even sacred art has portrayed this power. In a rarely staged medieval drama, Taciturnitas, The Holy Quiet, by Brother Martin of Rouen, the protagonist defeats false accusers, not by argument, but by standing mute while light descends. The chorus sings, "Quiet is a blade unseen but sharp." Isaiah 30:90-50-90-19 confirms, "In quietness and trust is your strength." And the great of a longer riders in the meaning to the world. Revenge is not always destruction. Sometimes it is indifference. Power that does not demand attention but commands it naturally. Your silence has forced them to live with the reality they created and left them with no one else to blame. James 1:19 reinforces, "Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." It was the Caint, "Rise now, chosen one. Stand in the holy stillness that has already undone your enemies. Walk forward without needing to justify yourself. Let your silence continue to echo like an unseen cathedral bell whose sound shapes the air long after the hammer strikes." This is the kind of power they cannot stand, and it is already yours. Actions fade, but their echo can fill a lifetime. Chosen one. Have you sensed how what they did to you may be in the past, yet its consequences keep chasing them like a shadow cast not by the sun, but by their own choices? Have you felt how each betrayal leaves a resonance like a struck bell whose tone lingers long after the hammer is gone? And what happens inside a heart that thought it could act recklessly? Rewrite the story and walk away clean, only to discover its own footsteps reverberating back. This is the part they never thought through. They believed they could spin the narrative and bury the truth. But whatever a person sows, they will reap. Galatians 6-7 was already at work. Betrayal leaves an echo, a sound that follows you into every room, even when you think no one's listening. Now trust is gone. Bridges they once walked across daily have burned to ash, and there is no rebuilding them without facing the truth. Why would anyone imagine that a bridge built on lies could carry them forever? Alliances they relied on have cracked. People who once stood beside them now keep their distance, not because of anything you said, but because of what they revealed about themselves. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity. Proverbs 11:3 whispers under each severed tie. You can repaint the walls, but the cracks always show. In architecture, this is called stress memory. Structures retain the history of pressure even after repairs. Have you realized how every polite smile they wear now looks like a patch over a fracture? Imagine a white shirt with a deep, dark stain at its center. They can scrub it, bleach it, or cover it with a jacket, but they will always know it's there. Over time, that stain bleeds through. That's their betrayal. For nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed. Luke 8:17 has become a living law in their lives. In nature, the poison dart frog glows bright as a warning. Once touched, Its toxin leaves an invisible burn that no washing can erase. Why do they still try to pretend the burn isn't there when everyone around them can feel it? History mirrors this. In Montreal, a rising politician named Hector Lemaire, a composite based on true cases, manipulated donor funds for years. When his scandal emerged, he fled to another province, changed his circle, and tried to reinvent himself. Yet every new room he entered carried a pause in conversation, a glance exchanged between people who knew his story. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. Proverbs 26-27 played out again. His career never recovered because he could not outrun the echo of his own actions. Even sacred art has portrayed this fate. In a forgotten Renaissance fresco series called Umbrae Actuum, Shadows of Deeds, by painter Chiara del Vento, figures of liars are shown walking across continents, carrying their own shadows long, heavy, inescapable. Underneath runs the Latin text of Numbers 32:23. Be sure your sin will find you out. This is where they live now, in the architecture of their own echoes. The corridors they carved with their choices. They can move cities, change circles, or reinvent themselves. But the echo will follow. The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy. Proverbs 12:22 vibrates like a low frequency through their attempts at reinvention. In physics, this is residual resonance. Energy remains in a system long after the initiating force is gone. Have you seen how every new beginning they try carries the tremor of their old ending? Rise now. Chosen one. Stand in the stillness of your vindication while their own words chase them. You don't have to amplify the echo. It is already ringing. Walk forward, free from their shadow. For the echo of their actions is not your burden, but their teacher. Step into the clear space truth has carved for you. Your story might be the key that unlocks someone else's clarity. Chosen one. Can you sense the pulse of this moment? Like a cathedral bell vibrating through stone after it's struck. When you walk into a room and the air shifts. When eyes flicker before words form. When the frequency of hidden thoughts collides with your presence, what is actually happening inside their hearts? And why does the silence after their smile speak louder than their rehearsed phrases? This is not a random sensation. This is the phenomenon of soul resonance, the way two structures vibrate when one carries a higher frequency. In physics, it's called sympathetic oscillation. In the kingdom, it's called testimony. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Revelation 12:11. What you're feeling is not paranoia, but the invisible architecture of truth pressing through the veneer of performance. Have you noticed how months later, the same people who praised you in public reveal their true posture in unguarded moments? As though a mask slipped off without their permission. This isn't just about me telling you what's happening. It's about a living pattern, a cosmic diagram every chosen one touches sooner or later. In sacred geometry, a spiral is never an accident. It's the natural expression of growth. For the Word of God is alive and active. It judges the thoughts and attitudes of the heart. Hebrews 4:12. Every conversation, every glance, every subtle shift is part of a bigger picture that truth itself is sketching around you. And the more this pattern is spoken, the more obvious it becomes that these encounters aren't coincidences, but coordinates on a divine map. A retired seamstress named Beatrice Gomez, whose story has never been told publicly, once described how she walked into her church one morning and sensed a weightless tension around her. Months later, she learned she had been the subject of a smear. Yet her calm presence that day caused the ringleaders to confess before service ended. Her quiet testimony became a mirror for others. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, Matthew 5:14, had suddenly materialized in her life. Does that sound familiar, the moment when tension in a room becomes a revelation of who you are? Because truth shared is truth amplified. In acoustics, a single voice in a hall may sound small, but when the room's design supports it, the note blooms into a resonance that fills every corner. Two are better than one, for if either of them falls, one can help the other up. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. In the same way, your experience of masks slipping is not just a personal episode, it's an invitation to join frequencies with others, so clarity can echo farther than your own reach. Why keep a testimony locked inside when its release could be the cord that frees someone else's heart? Drop your experiences in the comments below. Share the moment when you watched someone's mask slide off like paint under rain, or when you realized the tension in a room was not hostility, but heaven exposing hidden motives. Have you ever wondered if the heaviness you feel is actually the Holy Spirit warning you of the unseen? Call to me, and I will answer you, and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know. Jeremiah 33:3. Your story might be the very answer another chosen one has been praying for in secret. And listen, chosen one, you've seen it clearly now. Every mask, every lie, every crack in their illusion, none of it survived your stillness. This wasn't chaos, it was the truth claiming its space. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. You stood through it without losing an ounce of your power. Like a master architect removing scaffolding to reveal the finished cathedral, the false structures have fallen, and what remains is your unshakable foundation. Now is the moment to rise. Speak your truth not as retaliation but as invitation. Release your story the way a lighthouse releases beams through fog, not to shame the lost, but to guide them home. Walk forward with the authority of someone who knows their presence shifts atmospheres. Share in the comments. Connect with your brothers and sisters, and let your testimony resonate. This is not just an ending, it's a commissioning. The invitation has been sent, and you are the carrier. Chosen ones, we have walked through the battlefield of truth tonight. And now the dust has settled enough for us to see clearly what was always there. That explosive fight was not just chaos, it was divine exposure. It was heaven ripping away the veil and showing that the lies they built around you could not withstand the force of light. Every whisper, every smear, every attempt to make you small was dragged into the open the moment God's presence collided with their deception. Do you realize how powerful that is? That without you lifting a sword, without you shouting back, truth itself went to war on your behalf and won? This confrontation was never just about you and them. It was a cosmic collision between illusion and revelation. What happened was a prophecy in motion. Scripture reminds us in Luke 12:2, there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. When heaven decided that time had come, no lie could remain buried. The explosive nature of that moment was the sound of God's justice arriving, and though they thought they could rewrite history, they could not escape the author of truth who holds the pen. Chosen one, you must understand you are not ordinary. If you were, they would never have fought so hard to cover you in lies. Nobody wastes energy burying a seed they don't fear will grow. Their panic was proof of your calling. The way they scrambled, the way their stories collapsed, the way their masks fell in front of others, that was not weakness on your part. That was strength shining through. Have you noticed how those who once mocked you are now uneasy in your presence? unable to maintain their fake confidence. That's because the fight exposed them, not you. And here is the deeper truth. God allowed this fight not to break you, but to announce you. Just as Joseph's brothers tried to bury him only to set him on the path to Pharaoh's palace, what they meant for evil became the stage for your unveiling. Génesis 50 contra 20 declares, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Their lies were the pit. The confrontation was the prison. But your destiny is the palace. The explosion did not destroy you. It cleared the debris that was blocking your crown. Now we must pause and reflect. What does this mean for your future? It means your silence was not weakness, but strategy. It means your patience was not passivity, but divine timing. It means your story is no longer hidden. It is testimony. You are walking proof that lies may last for a season, but they cannot survive eternity. You didn't just survive the fight, you became the revelation others needed to see. And so, chosen ones, let this be the declaration you carry forward. You are the daylight, and no darkness can withstand you. Every time they tried to silence you, your presence grew louder. Every time they tried to distort your image, heaven revealed a clearer reflection. Every time they tried to fight you, they were actually fighting the one who sent you. And we know how that ends. Romans 8:30 et en assure us. If God is for us, who can be against us? That is the anthem of your life now. So rise from this moment with your head lifted high. Do not shrink back into the shadows. This was your unveiling, and once light has entered the room, no one can switch it off. Take this word as confirmation that you are entering a new season, where every lie has lost its power and every truth about you is becoming undeniable. You are marked. You are chosen. And your presence will continue to expose what was hidden. Before we close, I want to invite you to take part in this moment of community. If this message has spoken to your spirit, let your voice be heard. Press like. Share this video so another chosen one can find their confirmation. And subscribe to this channel so we can continue walking this journey together. Drop a comment with 777 as a sign that you're in agreement with heaven's justice unfolding in your life. And if you feel led to support through a super thanks, know that your kindness fuels this mission, but whether you give or not, you are deeply appreciated, valued, and covered in prayer. Thank you, chosen family, for being here, for standing in the light when it would have been easier to hide, and for proving with your very life that truth always prevails. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you. May His favor go before you in every battle yet to come. And remember this, the fight that nearly exposed every lie was not your end, it was your announcement. Walk boldly, because your time is now.